So yes, Navendu, please tell me about yourself.
Yeah. My name is Nabendra Oja. Currently, I am working at Infosys. Currently I have experience working as a Java backend developer.
Mm-hmm.
And my tech stack includes Java, microservice, REST API, Spring Boot, etc. And from database side, I know PostgreSQL and MySQL also. And from front end side, I have little exposure in HTML, CSS. And my main skill is basically Java, DSA, and problem solving, logic building.
Okay. So, so you have mentioned Java, Spring Boot, Hibernate, JPA, JDBC, Makuto, JUnit, Spring Security, right?
Yes.
So, so how do you write Spring Security uh, for the role-based API access? Can you give the some snapshot, or you can explain about that?
Yes. So first of all, to use Spring Security in a Spring Boot project, we need to add the dependency Spring Boot status security.
Mm-hmm.
And once I add the dependency, so by default, my all APIs will be secure. Then, if I want to access any API, I have to use username or password, username and password. And if I want to change the default username password, default username is user. So if I want to change it, I can do that. For role-based authentication, we do is basically for every API, not every API, which API we
No, no,
want to secure.
just 1 minute. Just you give the initial step. How do you start for Spring Security?
So
Initial
first
step.
of
You
yeah, so
suppose
for,
you want to create a class, then what you will do that for Spring Security?
so we have a security config class, so where we write the security things. Okay. So and for every API, we use at the pre-authorized annotation. So to say that to access that API, I need to have that authority, that role. So at the pre-authorized has a role. Inside that, I will give the role. So what role is needed for to access that API? Like that we do.
So role means how do you define the role? Which type
Uh,
of class you take it?
for
Which
role, we
service?
actually we use different table in database. So we have role table. So there we have our ID and corresponding to that we have the role. So
Mm-hmm.
if like we use actually OAuth security. So like with our Microsoft credentials, our roles are added actually. Roles are connected in the database.
Mm-hmm.
So once I am connected to the OAuth security, so then if I have the role, so I will be able to access that. If I don't have the role, I will see the message like I I don't have the access like that.
Mm-hmm. So, so you are comfortable in JUnit and Makuto test?
Yes, I have written test cases.
So, what is use of Makuto?
Mockito they are using to basically write the test case actually. It means Mockito we use suppose we have some from the from the method we are expecting something and we are actually getting something. So to compare that we use Mockito.
Makuto means mocking the REST services.
Yes, mocking means basically I am assuming that will run fine, and
Hmm.
then according to that I will test other functionalities.
Hmm.
That is the use of Mockito basically.
And JPA?
JPA basically Java Parsing API, so it actually processes the queries and transactions in Java classes against the database. So basically, JPA we used to like instead of writing DDL DML queries manually, we can use
Hmm.
JPA methods like find by ID, find all, save. There are several methods, right? So you can use any.
So JPA you want to use. So you know aware about join annotation, one to one mapping, one to many mapping, many to one mapping. So you aware about this?
Yes, so in entity class, we have to mention that suppose we have two tables and one table has the dependency on the right table by one to one. So I will just write the annotation add the one to one in the in on top of the column name and it will work like that. So in the entity class only
So
we
one
mention
to
that.
one, any other mapping case you need to write, or simply
Yeah,
just
every
you
word
mark as?
right at that one to one, at the one to many, at the many to many. These three main are there. So yeah.
Okay. So, so why we are using? So how much experience you have right now, uh,
I have
Narendra?
3.3 years of experience.
3.6 years, right?
3.3 years.
3.3
3.3.
years. Okay, okay. So, any specific reason we want to use JPA rather than JDBC? What do you think about that?
JDBC is actually is an application interface that used to connect the Java application with the database.
Mm.
So what we do is in our application properties file, we mention like string.datasource.url
Mm.
equal to JDBC is to JDBC colon PostgreSQL or MySQL is colon means I am connecting the database um, with our application,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
if I use JDBC only, so we need to write the manual query like select star from this like that. But if
Mm-hmm.
we use not like if we use JPA, the advantage of JPA is that I will not write the manual query. I just use the methods. So there are some the inbuilt methods, so I can use that.
Okay. So Hibernate, eager loading and lazy loading in Hibernate.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard about that. Eager and lazy. So fetch type is eager and lazy. So that is I need to mention. But I am not much aware of that thing. I didn't use so much to be honest.
Okay. So in Spring Boot, why we are using a Spring Boot rather than Spring MVC framework? So what is advantage?
So Spring basically, the advantage basically, if we use Spring Boot, so the configurations we no need to write manually. Like there is some inbuilt configuration we can use that, and for dependency also there is some inbuilt dependency, and there is in-memory DB support as well. Like H2 database, I think we have support in Spring Boot. So there
Mm-hmm.
is some advantage
Okay.
over Spring.
So which uh, dependency injections, IOC. What is use of dependency injections and IOC? Can you
Yeah.
give the definition about this?
Yes, sir. Dependency injection is basically like it is used in Spring to maintain the loose coupling architecture. So
Mm.
what it does is instead of manually injecting dependencies into classes, Spring IOC do it product. Spring IOC automatically inject the dependencies. So there are three ways to inject the dependencies. One is construct injection, another is setter injection, and this field injection. So there is uh, three ways to maintain dependency injection. And IOC container is basically the container that maintain the life cycle of bean. Basically, that's the IOC container.
Mm. Okay. So what is REST controller?
REST controller is basically like where we write the method. Like it is the at the REST controller that is an annotation. That is a class of annotation that we use in the controller class. So to mention that particular method, like that particular class will contain the APIs like get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, whatever I will write. So that will
Mm.
contain this thing.
What is response entity annotation?
Response entity.
Mm.
Uh, response entity I used, but not as an annotation. Like where I used it, basically, suppose I have a get API, and there I want to I want to throw, what I want to throw is basically I want to give a string. I want to get a string response as well as the HTTP status. So what I will do is I will write the return method as public response entity in this Angular bracket string, then method name, and then I write the method and what will return is return new response entity, then the string that I want to return, comma HTTP status dot okay or dot instance aware or dot whatever I want. Like that.
Okay. So what is difference between controller and REST controller?
Controller basically normal web controllers, so that does not handle the that only handles the HTTP responses. I think, but REST controller actually used to maintain the REST APIs basically.
REST controller is used to REST API and controller is not used to REST API, right?
Yeah, Controller is for basic, like it handles all HTTP requests.
Okay.
Like it is a generic type of controller,
Mm-hmm.
generic type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So you know about uh, service annotation and repository and annotation, how they will work.
Yeah. So service annotation at the rate service we use where we write the business logic. So the class where we write the business logic, I will annotate the class as at the rate service. So basically, yes,
Yes. Yes. Continue.
basically what it will do is it will like at the rate service means it like it says our application that this particular class contains our business logic, and if I want I can auto add this stuff into another class.
Mm-hmm.
Generally we do it in controller class. And at the repository that mean that actually do the same type of thing, but tells the application that this is not for logic, this is for database connection. So database
Mm-hmm.
queries it will contain at the repository.
Okay. 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 So you know Spring Boot actuator. What is role?
Actuator, yeah. So actuator I had that is basically to maintain, sorry, to monitor the health of the application. So
Okay.
if it is active or non-active like that. But I did not use so much.
Okay. So you have used to gateway API design pattern in microservices.
Yes.
Okay. And you aware about cloud server?
Cloud server, yeah, we use AWS cloud server.
What
Uh,
is Spring Boot cloud?
Spring Boot cloud gateway is there, but
How
mm,
can you
uh,
use it?
that I am not aware of that.
Okay. Okay, so just I'm moving to next question related to you have knowledge about CSS and HTML.
Yeah, basic knowledge I have.
So suppose you get any kind of opportunity, so you can do that.
Yeah. Like I have my own portfolio website, so I build that by my own. So I can do that. I can handle that.
Okay. Great. So you know what kind of things have in uh, new technology just like as a Docker, Kubernetes. You aware about that?
Yes, Docker I have used actually in my computer. So basically Docker, what is the usefulness of Docker is basically suppose I have made an application, and
Mm-hmm.
suppose there I have used Java 8, Java version 8, okay. But
Mm-hmm.
now I want to show it to my client, okay. But the client laptop, I when I install the application, they don't have the Java 8 in their laptop. So how they will run? So for that actually Docker we containerize both application and the dependencies, and then directly everything we can like transfer to another laptop and run it.
So
That's
you
the basics of
okay.
Docker.
So you aware about uh, OOP concept?
Which concept? I didn't understand.
OOP, object oriented programming.
Oops concept. Yeah, I am aware of that.
Yeah, can
Oops
you?
concept basically there are four basic basic structure of the Oops concept. So basically encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism.
Mm-hmm.
So encapsulation basically data hiding, basically combining the methods and properties into a class. That is encapsulation, and inheritance basically the parent property will be inherited to the child property. That is inheritance. Abstraction basically like to not show the unnecessary information to the user. Like we do that using abstract class, and polymorphism. There is two main types of polymorphism of runtime sorry, object sorry, overloading and overriding. Overloading is compile time polymorphism, and overriding is runtime polymorphism.
Okay.
So, to the
So
extent,
you know uh, uh, can we overwrite static method?
static method. Let me see.
Can be overwrite?
Static method. I don't think so because static method is a part of class, like it is a
Hmm.
classes method. So
Hmm.
I don't think it can be overridden.
So cannot be overwrite or override.
I think it cannot be overridden.
Okay. Okay. Uh, you know immutable class.
Which class?
Immutable class.
Annotable class.
Immutable class. Immutable class. Immutable.
No, no, I did not know.
You know concatenate function in a string.
Concurrent function.
Concatenate method.
Concat method I know, but
Concat.
concat,
Concat. Yes.
concat, yeah, concat I know, yeah. Basically, like adding those two, like two strings.
So what is difference between string builder and string buffer?
Okay, string builder and string buffer. Basically, in the in Java, string is basically immutable in Java. So to like avoid that, to make the string mutable, so there is two classes: string builder and string buffer. So string builder, what is the difference? String builder is basically not thread safe, but string buffer is thread safe. So that's why string builder is like faster than string buffer.
Okay. So how many way we can create a synchronized block?
Synchronized block, I can use, there is two type of synchronized block, like method level and block level.
Hmm.
So we can use in method like public synchronize void to that, so that method will be synchronized. Otherwise synchronize this, the block will be synchronized.
So instance initializer and static initializer, you know.
Uh, Static initial level, no, I did not. I am not aware of that.
So you aware about design pattern,
Mm, yeah, like little bit I know.
builder design pattern, you know,
No, a little bit I know. Like I don't know much about that.
and solid principle.
Yeah, solid principle I know.
Can you explain about that?
Solid principle basically to maintain maintainability and flexibility of a code. There is five. Solid means SOLID. So there is five. Sorry, that is the acronym actually. So S means responsibility principle. O means open source principle. L means list of subscription principle. I for interface aggregation principle, and D for dependency inversion principle. So there are five principles.
Okay. So you know about the basic feature of Java 8.
Yeah, Java 8 has some new features actually. So they are first Lambda function, then functional interface, then Stream API, the main
Hmm.
function, then optional class, collector class.
So optional class is a static class or final class? What do you think about that?
Optional is basically used to handle null pointer exception, but it is it is a static class, I guess. If you want to say.
Static class or final class?
I am not sure. Like I think static. Not sure.
So method reference, you know.
Method reference.
Hmm.
No, I don't know.
What is difference between sequential stream and parallel stream?
A sequential stream means normal stream, like it will sequential means it will run sequentially, like one after another it will work. But parallel stream means it can run parallelly, like it can run parallelly, yeah. But that are not thread safe.
Okay. Data not thread safe. You know asynchronous API and synchronous API. What difference
Yeah,
between the?
synchronous means same, like it will run parallelly, like, and synchronous means it will run sequentially, like one after another.
Okay. So in Java 8, what is terminal operator and non-terminal operator.
Terminal operator and non-terminal means that is intermediate operator. So
Hmm.
terminal operator actually they are like last in stream function we use like that actually returns a result. So
Hmm.
like collect, reduce they are ternary operator, terminal operator. And
Hmm.
intermediate operator like they don't return result like suppose filter map, these are intermediate operators.
Okay. Intermediate operator, right?
Yes. Mm.
Okay. So you know how to make it hash map as a synchronized. What mechanism you will write?
I did not understand. Can you come again?
How to synchronize hash map?
Hash map. Okay, so hash map synchronize. Uh, there is a concurrent hash map concept, but
No, concurrent hash map
that is
is a different thing. It is a part of
mhm.
concurrency.
Achha, okay. There is a synchronized hash map also, right?
So
Synchronized map,
how do
synchronized map also.
no,
Yeah.
synchronized map collections dot synchronized map.
Yes.
Here you can pass the object of hash map. That would be written as a synchronized hash map.
Mm.
So in database, what do you know?
I have worked on Postgres.
PostgreSQL. So you aware about view cluster index? You know
No, I did not have about.
how many types of index in database?
Index is basically used like to better like to get do select like operations easily. So that index, but uh, I don't know it. I am not aware of.
How many types of joins?
There are inner join, left outer join, right outer join, self join. That are four types. I have
So
worked on.
suppose you want to annotate join
Mhm.
in JPA. So how do you join the table? How do you write the joining of the column? Syntax.
For join, there is like we have done that, but like we have joined two tables, but not like annotation. We have like use entity manager in that case to like write query and run the entity manager. Like entity manager dot create native query, then write the query in a join or something, and then I don't know annotate anything. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So suppose I will ask you last question. How do you find highest salary from the table? Table column is ID, name and salary.
Okay. Should I write?
Yeah, you write in chat.